Hello and welcome to How to Play Star Wars Galaxies Episode 13. Today we're going to be taking a look at harvesting, and I'm going to use a energy harvester as just our example, but keep in mind most of them pretty much work the same. So starting off, what you want to do is you want to get your harvester. You're going to want to go to a bazaar terminal or a vendor, and you're going to want to purchase a small one, especially if you're starting out. If you have a lot of cash, then you might want to go the medium route. There's small, medium, large, and then there's elite. Elite, really, I wouldn't even recommend them unless you have a lot of money. They're expensive, but they do pull up a high yield. They're mostly for people who don't want to have to mess with a lot of harvesters. They want to mess with fewer, but they use up a lot more material. So it just kind of depends on how many lots you're really using and how much you're actually harvesting. So when you get your harvester, I'm going to start out with a geothermal power generator. Geothermal power is mostly, I think, used for Beastmasters, the device they use to actually create, generate on Beast and do things with them. So, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, when you're first, surveying, just like we did in the first tutorial, you want to get your survey tool out. You want to pick out a source, and I went ahead and already surveyed one, but we'll do it again. Let's see. Here we go. So you'll see the rate. Pretty good rate, and I'm actually right on the spot. So when you're there, get to the spot. Make sure you're not within the city limits of player or non-player cities. Then double-click on your deed, and you get your spot. You'll notice there's some I can't place in the area, but right here, right where we are, I can. So I'm going to go ahead and place it. Close that out. It's building it. And there we go. So now we got our harvester here. Now what you want to do is tilde key on it to open up the structure management. And you'll see kind of the same basic things you see with like housing and other things like that. But let's go into the status and we'll show you some of the things in here. You'll see it shows the owner. This is important because you can have multiple harvesters from different characters harvesting the exact same location. So if you're having a hard time keeping track of which harvesters are for you and whatnot, or if you keep someone, you can change administrating rights. So if you have your main character who is harvesting everything, but you're using lots on your other character, you can make the main character an administrator on the other character's harvester, so that the main character can be the one pulling the resources out of the machine. Kind of tricky, but handy if you're, a big harvester. You have your condition, just like a housing. If it goes low on maintenance, the condition will go down, and eventually the item will get destroyed. But it's really tricky to do unless you're just not playing the game. The maintenance pool, I've already got a lot of maintenance in here. Then you have your maintenance rate, tells you what kind of rate you got, and that's about it. You go here, you can pay your maintenance. The one difference, and I went ahead and did power here just to make this a little less complicated, but the other harvesters for like minerals and chemicals and flora and all that stuff, there's also going to be a power thing required. Your best bet starting off is just simply go and do a search for some of the cheapest radioactive power you can find. Go on the bazaar terminal, just look for it. Get you, several thousand units of it if you're doing low. If you're going to be doing like big harvesters, you want like 100,000, maybe a few 100,000 units of it. And once you get all that, just like you go in here to say pay maintenance, there's a power deposit. So you'll have to deposit amount of power. If you run out of maintenance, the machine stops. If you run out of power, the machine stops. So you got to make sure both of them are maintained at the same rate. That's the only annoying thing. And also, as like most housing, whatever money and power you put into the machine, you cannot pull back out. So once it's in there, you're kind of stuck with so you don't want to put too much at one point. Best thing to do is put enough power maintenance in there for a few days, because resources change. You may not really get a full week of harvesting. You may only get a couple days. So then the next important thing is operate the machinery. Here's pretty much where all the good stuff is. You can turn it on and off here. Here's where you change the resource that you're actually harvesting. and this shows you the rates of what kind of rate your machine should be able to get, and then this is the actual rate that you're pulling. This is pretty much a maximum capacity based off 100%. We're not on 100%. We're on like 64, 65%. So just keep that in mind. So it's going to change resource. This will show you any resources that are available on the current spot that your harvester is on. So sometimes what you might want to do, rather than just pulling the harvester up and moving it, there may be two resources that are actually really high in this area. And if you're just pulling stuff to have a good amount of like stock resources to make miscellaneous junk from, then you might want to go ahead and harvest this, and then after this is done for a while, maybe harvest something else. And this way you're not pulling the harvester up and wasting maintenance and all that. Just a little thing, but it's kind of nice to do. So we're going to go ahead and pick the higher one, hit OK. Now this just means the 65%, all this really actually means is the yield rate. This is saying how much we're going to get per second or minute or whatever. If it's really high, it's really good. Even if it's low, you're going to be guaranteed to get some resources from it. So don't worry about, this is not quite like harvesting yourself in your own character, and you try pulling and you don't get nothing, you try pulling, you don't get nothing. So you will guarantee to get something. It's just the lower this number is, you may get a lot less of an actual amount. So now here's the integrity. This is kind of like the condition of the machine. Let's go ahead and turn it on. It goes. We got a really good rate. It's showing how good it's doing. And let's go ahead and go into the hopper. The hopper is how much items we've gotten, and you'll notice just within a couple of seconds of harvesting, we've already gotten 3 units. If we give us another second or two, it goes to 4. So this may seem really slow, but the benefit to this is harvesters actually run even when you're not in the game. They will run while you are sleeping and at work and everything. So put this down, come back in like 2 days, and as long as you have plenty of maintenance and power in it, you're going to come back probably with thousands of units. And consider this, if you put down 10 harvesters, because you have 10 lots, you're going to get that amount times 10, times how much time you put and how much quality and all that. So now let's go ahead and pull, and we'll get a sample. You can say retrieve sample. If we just want to take a sample, sometimes what I'll do is I just want to test it, see what kind of quality we're actually pulling from. Then I hit my inventory, and I click on this, and we'll go and examine. We can see the whole thing. And you can see here the potential energy is 765. That's pretty high. Overall quality is about medium. Not too shabby. It's not the best quality, but this is definitely something you could probably resell. So we know that's pretty good. It's just 1 unit. I sometimes just destroy that 1 unit so it doesn't take up an inventory space. And then we'll just let this sit here overnight, and we'll pull the resources from it later. And if you want to, let's say that's enough, or you don't like what you've gotten, go ahead and turn off the harvester first. Go back to the hopper. If you want, say you don't want the resource, empty it or retrieve the whole resource. You may actually have to, there you go. Sometimes it glitches where it stays there. Just work with it, it'll eventually be okay. So now it's empty. The hopper has to be empty for you actually to do this. Then go back to tilde key. Let's pull the structure up. Go back to destroy structure. Everything's okay. It's going to be redeeded. Put in your 5-digit code that you see right there. And it's good. And you got your deed back. Everything's fine. No harm. We can, maybe you wanted to move the harvester for a better rate or whatever. That's basically how to do harvesting. In the future, we might do another one just to show you a quick, advanced, like how to do heavy harvesters and elite harvesters and the difference in those, and also how to get power and how to do that. Not really that complicated, but maybe we'll do that. Well, that's it for this episode, and until next episode, see you next time.